Hey folks, we're in Hue and we're in central Vietnam, about halfway up the country, and we wanted to share some of our thoughts on the country so far. And it's not been the when you cycle tour, anywhere you cycle tour, you just get to see things really intimately. So the traffic you see really intimately, you see the people, the food, everything you do is really intimate, and nothing is through a tinted window or through an air-conditioned veil of roses. It's right there, it's right before you, and you've got to deal with it or eat it. And especially for this one here, who is Welsh.
There's no other way to put it, really.
See, I'm brown, and I grew up, in an immigrant family, and I grew up around a lot of other immigrant families as well, and the cultural differences.
And you grew up in London, which in itself is vastly different to Mid Wales.
That's another key point. And so I've always been, I guess, better prepared for cultural differences and whatnot than Sarah was ever going to be. But anyway, let's talk about some of the stuff. We'll try and break it down a bit.
Break it down to sort of subtopics.
Yeah. So start with
the cycling.
So cycling then.
Yeah.
So cycling. So we've cycled now 1,100 kilometres here in Vietnam. So you've got a pretty good idea of what that's
we're
been
well
like.
over halfway now, I think.
Over halfway up the country.
And
how's that been? Your first proper cycle tour?
Yes, that in itself is a big enough thing. It's been good. It's been good. The cycling has been. I've enjoyed the cycling. The fitness hasn't been an issue, really. Some of the longer days I've been more tired, a bit achy, but overall I was prepared fitness-wise.
You've done really well. Like we did that week of 5 days, 500 Ks, and you weren't dead at the end of it.
I wasn't dead. I was just a bit achy and tired, so we had some rest days. Yeah, ready for a bath. The cycling has been good, and I'd cycle tour again, definitely.
Yeah, that's good. Well, that's good to hear, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what about roads then? What about the roads you've been cycling on?
The roads have been crazy, really chaotic, and really noisy. The noise, I think, the noise. They beep their horns all the time for just about every reason, and they drive mainly on the right side of the road, but that's open to change depending on what they feel to be the most logical way forward. And so there is a flow to the traffic, but as I've said to Greg, I think the problem is that they know what they're doing, but I don't know what they're doing, and I don't know what I'm doing. So I feel really overwhelmed quite often, especially in towns. The highways are not so bad because you're mainly all going in the same direction for the most part. I manage the highways fine, but the towns, when we're cycling around the towns, that really, I find that quite stressful sometimes.
Yeah, like if they're, one of the main things they do is if they're turning lefts, so they'll drive on the right, if they're turning left, they'll veer over to the left-hand side of the road and take the left-hand turn there, rather than staying on the left-hand side all the way around the turning. And you get some big junctions here. You get junctions that are big enough that there should be roundabouts in the middle of them. And they'll do it there. So what happens is this just kamikaze mess.
Yes, like you'll have a massive square of tarmac in between 4 roads, and it's just full of motorbikes and cars and trucks all edging forward and weaving around each other. And for me, I find it hard to keep a focus on where I'm going, and also weave in around all this. Greg loves it. I also have to keep an eye on Greg as well, because I have to follow where he's going. So it's fun and games.
And I have to keep an eye over my shoulder to see what truck she's stuck behind or what. But no, there's something about it that I just really vibe with. I love the fact that they're so resourceful with two-wheeled vehicles here, and that they just go. If there's a gap, they go. They take it. And I've sort of been riding like this in London for years and getting told off for doing so, but here it's okay. And
They are really, I mean, it's amazing. They're very skillful drivers in that way, like on their
very
bikes.
skilled, very, very skilled.
They are.
But we have seen more accidents here than we have in Thailand.
Well, yes, that's true. We have.
So
And you can sort of see why.
they get it wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
They do get it wrong. They're terrible in cars. They're pretty good in bikes, terrible in cars.
Definitely.
So, yeah, so roads a bit overwhelming. What
Yeah,
about when
definitely.
we stop? Like, what about the hotels?
The hotels have not been bad, actually. It's
Yeah.
amazing
I think they've been outstanding.
what you can get, to be honest, for about £10 or £15 over here, especially in the smaller towns, because in the touristy places, well, obviously everything's a bit more expensive, but in the small towns, we've had some amazing hotels
Incredible.
for really cheap prices. So that's all been fine. I've not had any issues with our accommodation.
Yeah.
That's
And what
been
about
fine.
food?
Food, I had a big problem with food initially, like for the first 2 weeks or so, until we got to Nha Trang. I was getting a dodgy tummy as well from time to time, and everything I ate just didn't seem to vibe with me at all, and it didn't look appetizing either. So, yeah, I was really not liking the food. But that's got better the further north we've gone.
Food has gotten better. We've gotten
Yeah.
better at ordering as well, and we've learnt more Vietnamese words for the names of the dishes and so on.
Yeah.
But like I was saying, Vietnamese food is kind of like British weather. It's all just kind of grey for the most. I mean, that's probably a bit mean.
We've had some colourful dishes, but
Yeah.
they're staple foods like pho and that. They're not really
Like,
the most appetising.
Our first couple of weeks here, Sarah was basically just like prodding at this kind of oily liquid, kind of weird kind of tofu
looks like
lumps
stuff
floating around.
in some oily kind
Yeah,
of beige.
a lot of mock meats here.
Yeah, I had to get
And,
used to that as well. That's just a lot of stuff I'd never seen before, and
Yeah.
it was new. It was like foreign objects to my body. And the other thing about roads is everything's quite dusty over here, and kind of, I don't know, just dustier and dirtier. So there's a lot of like road fumes and dust.
I think
and stuff.
personally, I think the air is better than where we were in Chiang Mai before.
Yeah.
It's because it was smoky season up there.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah. So yeah, with the food, my favourite thing about the food is the greens. They will bring you with whatever you order. You will always get a massive plate of greens with it. So you get your greens in every day without having to go off to the market and find it and wash it and all of that.
And I've learned how to I've sort of learned how to use chopsticks. Kind of, like good enough to get the food up to my mouth.
If you don't use chopsticks, you don't eat it.
So that was another thing as well. I had to get used to that, because a lot of the small towns that we were stopping in, they didn't have anything.
Before we came, we talked a lot about Sarah's fitness and whether she was ready. We did a lot of hill training in Chiang Mai and stuff to get ready for this. But I think what we've learnt is the training we had down. Sarah was ready for this, which is amazing in itself. But it's all the other things. It's the cultural stuff that you found the hardest.
That's definitely been the hardest. It's just been all the other stuff. It's just an assault on the senses, and that assault, continual assault on my senses, it gets overwhelming over time, and I feel really drained by it by the end of the day. So that's been difficult.
So let's talk about the people.
Yeah.
It's all about the people. When everyone travels for slightly different reasons, and one of the main things that I have always travelled for is people. That's what I look at. That's what I am intrigued by. What makes them tick? How do they live? How do they get by? And Sarah's kind of the same.
I think the vibe
the people is
you
what
get
creates
from
the
the
feel.
people is that's what creates the feel that you take away from the country. And that's one of the things that I think I have, and both of us maybe, have struggled with here. I go back.
The camera cut out. We were just saying about people and how we travel for people, and it's people that ultimately make you feel the place. So you were saying that we both struggle a bit with the people, and
Yeah, and I have mixed emotions every day towards the people here. Like, I'll have a good interaction with somebody and I'll think, oh, they're really friendly. But I think if I'm honest, for the most part, to me, they come across as really unfriendly. I know that sounds harsh, but you know, and they probably don't mean to come across as unfriendly, but because of the cultural differences in that's a general feeling that you get. And we have met some really nice people and had some really lovely interactions with people. So there are really lovely ones, but I think my general feeling overall is they're just a more there's just this feeling of unfriendliness, or how would you describe it?
well, the main thing it does for me is it just really makes you consider how you come over to somebody else, how you come across to somebody else, and especially in your home country, and when you get visitors coming to your country, it really makes you stop and think.
It makes you want to be really friendly to any visitors that you see in your own country.
Because they're on the back foot, the visitors on the back foot, and they don't know how you run and operate and everything, and so it just makes you want to fill in those gaps. And I think because there's such a huge language barrier here, like the level, Vietnamese is hard. Like,
it is a tough language.
We do our best with the basics, getting by and things, but it's not like Thai. Thai, I just feel like anyone can learn it, but I don't know. There's the words in Vietnamese, you think it's going to be easier because it's the English alphabet, but all Vietnamese words are one syllable, and they all sound so similar, and they're all anagrams of all the other words. So you think you've seen a word.
So tonal.
And it's at its core, it's a tonal language more than it is a sound language. So everything just sounds like sounds and noise.
Yeah.
And squawks and screeches, really.
Yes, it does. It's quite a harsh language as well to hear. It's quite a clipped.
You've got to be really careful. Like the other day in the lobby, Sarah was like yawning quite loudly and apparently said some stuff in Vietnamese that was quite offensive. And,
yes, because like just things that we would call just a noise.
Yeah. Yeah. And remember we were riding down the street, and I was trying to do an impression of somebody as I do, and as I was saying what I was saying, I was doing like an impression in a funny voice.
Yeah.
And apparently I said some kind of greeting in Vietnamese, and they said the same thing back.
Yeah, they called out to you, didn't they?
Yeah,
we were like, wow, we said something.
So to this day, I don't know what it was that we said. But they seem to enjoy it.
It seemed to be positive, I think.
Yeah,
or at least humorous to them.
Yeah.
So yes, I think the people have been something that I've struggled with, because they're a bit more like they don't have an easy smile in that way. Like they have a more like neutral, blank expression. And they stare. They stare at you.
They stare at you.
Well, yeah, we've realised that they stare at me for goodness knows how many reasons. But I get stared at.
That's a whole other video.
A lot, yeah.
And maybe us as well. You know, we're staring at this kind of unique situation happening here. But yeah, people. I always try to see the best. That's kind of just who I am. I always try to see the best in what's going on. And I sort of just put it down to intrigue. Like, when they see us, there's so many things about us that they've not yet seen. They've not seen a white female in cycling shorts before. They've probably not seen a white female on a bike touring before. I don't know. Some of these places we've been to, you know, not every bike tourist is going to go through those particular towns, because there's so many little towns here. And they've probably never seen a mixed couple before. And they've probably never seen someone with crazy tan lines like us before. There's just so many little odds and ends.
There's so many reasons
they might give us this. They give us this blank stare as we go past, and then it's a bit like if we saw an alien go by, you'd be so shocked that you'd forget to smile and welcome him to planet Earth.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the time that's what's happening.
I get that feeling. I don't think that the whole nation is just unfriendly. That doesn't make sense. They're not, because they do smile at you, and you do get these really positive interactions, and we've had some really lovely people.
Yeah.
But it's just this cultural difference again, and it just can give over quite a sort of unfriendly, or even sometimes unsettling feeling. The way that they view you, especially the older generations. The younger ones, not so much, I guess, because things have changed.
Sarah's always had a sort of problem with authority, and so some like the older, especially the older ladies here, they're quite, what's the word, domineering, quite kind of commanding.
Don't get on with the older ladies.
Like when you go into a place, they will tell you what to do. And they think they're being
really bossy.
Think they're being helpful. I don't mind that. You know, I grew up with older ladies, you know, bossing me around. Hi, mum. Bossing me around. You know, telling me what to do and so on. All my little life. But it's all quite new to Sarah.
It's just,
you've got to bear in mind as well.
There's something quite domineering or like harsh about some of these little old ladies, like the one that screeched at me. They screech, and I don't use that word lightly. I've had old ladies just for no reason. One lady waved a bread roll at me and screeched. I don't know why. I have a bit of
you go around
communication issues with the older ladies.
Quite often you go around the streets here feeling like a naughty school child, don't you? Like you've just always done something wrong, and somebody's there yelling at you for having. But look, I just want to say as well, bear in mind we came straight out of Chiang Mai to come here, and Chiang Mai is just bliss when it comes to the people and everything.
We were spoiled there.
You know, the traffic is just so calm and docile. It's just the opposite in so many ways. You wouldn't think so because they're so close by as countries, but very, very different in a lot of ways.
Very, very different. But fascinating. I think overall, that's the word we keep using to describe Vietnam, is fascinating, because it does throw you through this roller coaster of emotions, but you know, love it or hate it, and sometimes throughout the day I've loved it and hated it multiple times.
Yeah.
But
that's kind of like the British weather too.
But I've always, I wouldn't exchange the experience of what we're doing here for anything, because it is fascinating, and it's just given us so much to think about, so many good conversations and discussions, and I've learned so much.
Yeah.
And we're only halfway through.
With an experience, it's not all about the enjoyment of that experience. And I think that's the difference between a tourist and a traveller as well. That a tourist will go somewhere to enjoy a particular holiday situation, but a traveller will really want to see what that place is like. And, if there are certain challenges to being in that place, then they are to be embraced. And they make you stronger, they make you a better cyclist, they make you a better human being, and they make you better at interacting with other people from all manner of walks of life.
Absolutely. I feel like a different person already to the person that landed in Ho Chi Minh.
Yeah.
It's like Greg said about a developing country, that maybe it's called a developing country because it develops you while you're in that country. And I think there's, that's a good point.
For sure. Well, we could talk for hours on this one.
Yeah.
And there's so many other topics as well that we would maybe we'll make some more videos like this, just talking about. And if you're interested in what we're saying here and you want to hear more about our thoughts from being on the ground here, then camera cut out again, but we're just wrapping up and saying that's our thoughts so far. If you like this kind of video, then let us know, and we would love to talk more, if you're willing to listen, about our trip here and our thoughts and experiences, like the feelings.
Yes, the feelings that have been evoked by this
place.
Trip.
A place is all about a feel for us. We don't travel for stuff. We don't necessarily travel for amazing beaches or architecture or even food or
Those things
even cycling.
might be bonuses, but it's for the feel and the vibe that we get. And
that's what you take away.
Yeah, I feel like we've just barely scratched the surface of things we could talk about right now. So,
all right, we'll see you in the next video.